Tinder, an app with over 50 million users and 12 million matches per day. Tinder has irrevocably changed the dating landscape of the 21st century forever. But I want to take a closer look at it. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew Marr, and welcome to TinMarr. As a result of making this documentary, I actually decided to put myself onto Tinder in order to find out more about it from my own perspective. However, I realise I'm not the only person that's on Tinder, so I've decided to call in some friends of mine to give me their own personal experiences about Tinder, and you'll be hearing from them later on. But right now, let's hear what you, the people, think about Tinder as I take to the streets of Glasgow to ask for your opinions on the matter.
I don't have any opinions on Tinder. I don't use it at all, so...
No.
No, I don't. No?
Yes.
So, do you guys use Tinder?
No.
You don't?
No.
Okay.
Never.
Never? Okay. Well, tell me about your Tinder. Tell me about Tinder. How do you feel about it? Yes, as you may imagine, it is actually quite difficult to get people to talk about Tinder quite openly. Thankfully, we did actually find quite a few people that were willing to open up to us.
Yeah, I don't see the problem in it.
My sister uses it, she likes it.
I feel like it's quite soulless.
Met my fiance on it.
You met your fiancé on Tinder?
Yeah, I did.
Tinder?
It doesn't work.
I feel like it seems real weird and I couldn't get on with it.
I just feel like the universe has control of people's love lives too much.
Dating's hard enough without apps like that.
Point that a man texts me saying, "You look like that and you have no children. Wow, if we meet today, I can change this." So I deleted.
I met the founder over in San Francisco.
You've met the founder of Tinder! I've been trying to get a hold of him. It's about Tinder. Have you guys got opinions about Tinder?
Oh my god, no way. Aye.
That's how we met.
Aye.
That's how you met? You guys are a couple? Whoa. Did those guys just say they were on a Tinder date? I better talk to them a bit more.
Aye.
That's how we met.
Aye.
That's how you met? You guys are a couple?
Nah.
Oh, right. Okay. Right. Is this a Tinder date that you're on, or?
Well,
Well, it's like one of a few.
One of a few?
Yeah.
I've seen each other a good few times.
Yeah.
Crazy. So why did you swipe right to each other? Am I asking the question that you guys haven't even asked yet? Or is that...
I don't remember. I can't even mind. I'm not even going to lie.
So the person's right in front of you and you can't remember.
Can't even.
No, but obviously, like, I wouldn't have,
Well, obviously it's based on looks as well, so if you think they're nice, like, you know what I mean?
See, I think I always base like my Tinder stuff off of like music, and your Instagram was attached to yours, and you had a picture of someone that I really liked, so I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's true. Aye,
It's not easy to talk to people on Tinder.
No,
like,
it's
to have a
strange.
conversation, like, it doesn't work, the app doesn't work.
I've deleted it.
Yeah,
You've
so
deleted it now.
I'm not good at either.
So, is this the first time you guys have been on a Tinder date with anyone?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is great. I mean, this is crazy. And like this, and that was it for you. You guys were just like, right, this is probably the only person on Tinder who actually enjoys
I've
company.
made friends from Tinder.
Yeah.
And I've bumped into people from Tinder, but I've never like actually went and met them.
Like, kind of my mate got it. I was like, let's see what, like, I didn't get it in mind of like actually meeting someone.
Yeah, either. I did it for a laugh. It was like, oh, I'm 18, I can do it now.
Okay, so as part of this documentary, I decided to put myself onto Tinder to get a first-hand experience of the app. What I found most interesting about my Tinder experience was the amount of people that really did not even want to speak to me. They matched with me, I would send them a message, and 9 times out of 10, none of them actually talked to me. It was actually quite sad in a lot of ways. I actually felt a wee bit depressed about the whole thing. But this is kind of... You know, I've kind of been told don't actually feel that bad about this, because what I've found is, through making this documentary, is that virtually no one actually speaks to each other on Tinder. It's quite strange. I mean, like, you know, to be fair, you know, looking the way I do, I didn't expect a huge amount of, you know, attention on Tinder, to be totally honest with you. I kind of thought I'd get like a few more interested parties who'd really be interested in the documentary side of it and being a part of the documentary. Turns out, nah, not really a lot of people are. In fact, they thought the documentary was actually some sort of ploy for me to talk to them. They thought it was like some kind of weird, sneaky chat-up line or something like that. Yeah, I'm not that smart. In making this documentary, I created a survey that asked people about some of their weirder Tinder experiences. Someone I knew had gone to a festival and met up with 3 people he matched on Tinder at the same time. Needless to say, it was very awkward, and since then he deleted Facebook due to the drama. Had a 2-week conversation with a girl and then she ghosted me. I found screenshots of the conversation we had a few months later on a meme page about how men were all trash. I once matched with my ex-teacher. Oh, that's not any good. I found my mum's account, swiped right and got a match. That's all kinds of wrong. Went on a date with a guy, talked for about 3 hours about LARPing. A guy tried to start a relationship with me by bragging about meeting Jeremy Corbyn once in Asda. A girl started the conversation by sending me unsolicited nudes. So I will now be speaking to Lauren McLachlan to get her experiences on Tinder. So, Lauren, you met your first boyfriend on Tinder. Why did you swipe right?
I don't always go by looks, but I thought he was good looking, and then I looked at his bio and he seemed a bit different and funny because I'm a bit weird, so he seemed a bit weirdo, I guess. And just a bit more fun than like your typical fun than anyone else. So okay. Yeah, and like we've been talking for maybe a couple of weeks, and I wasn't sure about it, and I was like, oh, you know what, like I'll meet up with him. We met up at a cafe, but it was really weird meeting him. He was very quiet. Usually when you're meeting someone on a date for the first time, even if you're nervous, you're going to be like, oh, hi, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. He barely spoke, which is a bit strange and made me feel a bit uncomfortable. But then as the date went on, like he spoke a bit more, but the way he reacted to things was strange. He'd kind of say something and he'd come up with really weird answers. But nonetheless, he was quite funny. Just give weird answers like, okay, and just say weird things after that. But then eventually it got kind of funny and he'd come out with funny things. But it's just the whole silence thing at the start and taking ages to like answer back to me was a bit awkward. But as the day went on, it did go well. And then it was actually 3 dates later because he lived about... It had actually been over the course of about 3 weeks. So even though it was 3 dates, we'd been talking for a lot longer. We got on really well. Like, we had a good connection. I didn't feel, as the dates went on, I didn't feel like uncomfortable. I felt like I'd known him for ages, and I think he felt first boyfriend as well. And I was like, okay. And things were going well.
You guys broke up and it went pretty badly, didn't it?
A couple of weeks later, I broke up with him by text because I was like, this is not going to work out. He didn't take that well. And he was completely putting the blame on me, and then it was everything over social media about how, you know, you need to look out for yourself.
He was posting on social media basically like passive-aggressively blaming you for breaking up with him or something.
Oh, totally passive-aggressively, and I was like, you were the in this relationship, basically. And then he would like say things to me, he'd like send me Snapchats of his sister doing funny stuff after we'd broken up, and I was like, why are you sending me this?
And how's it coloured your view of Tinder?
I wouldn't say it's all bad. I'd say it's fun. If you're single, it's definitely like a fun thing to go on. You can spend way too much time on it. I will give you that. Like, you could spend hours swiping through just because it's like, I don't know, you don't even realise how much time you're spending. I'd say it gave me a lot of good experiences. Like, it gave me a lot of confidence. I'd never been on dates before that. Or I'd been on one, but you know, like meeting new people and meeting strangers, and I've been places that I never would have been, and yeah, I definitely gained a lot of confidence, but at the same time, you're just like, you never know who you're always meeting. They could be different online.
If you were single again, would you go back on?
I'd like to say no, but then again, I think I would. I think there would be that temptation of, oh, I'm single. You know, I don't know how else to meet people, but probably would, and then I'd regret it.
Thanks very much.
That's okay, thanks for having me.
I'm now going to be reading out some suggestions we've had from people who did the survey about how Tinder could be improved. Segment the users based on what they're looking for, i.e. a hookup from Tinder, casual dating, wanting a commitment, etc. Another person said you have to have a certain amount of photos so you know they aren't fake. It would be nice to be able to send images and videos in the chat just to know each other better, and no, not for the reasons that you think. It could also have a safe meetup option that you set a date and time location on the app so that people are safer. They could take the information on people's pages to match interests and hobbies, or perhaps a survey before joining as to what they are actually looking for on Tinder. This way, people who are actually looking for relationships will be giving other people wanting exactly the same thing, and hookups could be linked to other hookups to avoid disappointment. My friend and colleague Austin Robertson was so enthusiastic about this documentary that he sat down with me for an interview. Okay, so we're with Austin Robertson. He's going to be talking to us about his Tinder experience. Hey, Austin. So, you've been with Christopher for how long?
8 months now.
And you matched on Tinder?
Yeah.
What made you swipe right?
Well, to be honest, he was quite attractive, so yeah, that. But also his bio was like, it wasn't like, you know, the generic kind of like basicness. It was like kind of like actually told me about him. So I was like, oh, well, he seems interesting.
Did you know kind of from the get-go, from the first couple of messages, this was a guy that you were going to be into?
Yeah, I knew straight away, like, we were chatting and it just felt right. Like, you're speaking and you just knew. The app's kind of more of like a hookup kind of situation, and like it is generally a hit and a miss.
Okay, have you had any kind of weird experiences come from it?
I got a stalker from it once.
You got a stalker?
Like, I went on one date with him. He would not leave me alone after that, and I told him it's not going to work. Like, I just didn't feel anything, and he just would keep messaging me on my mobile and Facebook, and I was just like, block, goodbye.
How long did that last?
It was probably like about a year ago, and it lasted maybe like 2-3 months. Like, I think he really did want a relationship, and I was just like, nah, I'm not feeling this. I mean, general views of like Tinder, it works 2 times out of 10. You can meet someone from it, but like you've got to keep at it basically. Kind of got to like swipe through all those like people that are just kind of like, and you will eventually kind of find someone that's...
It kind of sounds like it's probably just as easy just to go out and find someone in real life.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, pretty much. Like,
I mean, you got lucky, but I mean...
Yeah, I got lucky, but a lot of people aren't. And yeah, it probably is. You could go up 10 people in a bar and speak to them just as easily as you could swipe through 100 people that find like 2 people that are like half decent.
So that's Austin Robertson. Thank you very much for coming.
No problem at all.
So guys, totally out of the blue, I have somehow managed to land myself a Tinder date. And I managed to interview her while we were on the date. So I'm talking to Becca Dunbar. It's been about 7 years since I last saw you, something like that. Yeah. Long period of time since we last properly saw each other. However, we have matched on Tinder, and this is, I guess, a date. Are we calling it that?
We can, I guess.
Okay, let's call it that then. Why are you doing this?
Well, it's just nice to catch up and to help you out with your thing.
Why did you swipe right to me? Was it because you hadn't seen me in so long? And
yeah, because I knew you and I was like, oh, I know Andrew.
Yeah.
I'll swipe him and we'll have a chat.
So how long have you been back on Tinder? So about 2 weeks now?
Yeah, like 2 weeks.
What makes you swipe right to someone on Tinder, generally speaking?
First, I'll flow through it pretty quickly. I'll be like a split-second decision of like how they look, obviously, because it's Tinder. And then if there's someone and I'm like, okay, he looks okay, I'll look at his profile. If he doesn't have anything, unless he's super hot, I'll probably swipe left. But then if we've got something funny or we've got something in common or whatever, I'll swipe right.
You kind of had any bad experiences so far since you got back on?
I've not had a lot of experiences yet, to be honest.
Do people actually talk? Because everyone I've spoken to, they've said like, oh yeah, people don't actually talk. All right, we're going on.
I'm quite good at messaging people first, as well. But then
you are.
A lot of people don't get replies because I'll send something really stupid and annoy them. There was one guy I was talking to, and then we were texting and we were planning on having a date, and then I ended up getting steaming. So then I just didn't plan anything, and then the next day I was like, what did I say to him? I can't remember. But I think I messaged him and he just didn't reply. I don't know if it's because he thought I was patching him or something.
What are your general kind of thoughts on Tinder?
It's not like people on Tinder are any different than the people you're going to meet in real life, because half of them are on Tinder anyway.
That's true.
So, but I think some people just like to meet someone organically, whereas I feel like I'm not really out enough to do that. I can't imagine where I'm going to meet someone.
Thank you very much. After the interview ended, Becca informed me that this was not a real date that we were on. She was just killing time before her shift started. Well, folks, that is TinMarr. Before I leave, I'm going to give you a thought. Tinder is basically fine. It's how you use it that makes the difference. Take it easy and don't fall into a hole of swiping and sadness. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a rather hot date with a burrito. Bye!